When selecting crop trees for a timber-centric approach or timber-centric goal, generally you want to promote those species that are of high value. Locally, the hardwoods that are of high value to us are our oaks, predominantly our white oak and our northern red oak. Sugar maple is another one, that's why I'm leaning on this tree here, that tends to fetch a decent amount of money per stem, around a board foot basis. Walnut is also consistently a high value log, and is perhaps one of the most stable and most sought after species that we have in our forests. So our oaks, our sugar maples, not to be confused with our red maples or our other lesser maples. Our walnuts are kind of our big Appalachian hardwood species that we try to promote with our crop tree release. When you find those stems, those particular species, what you're oftentimes looking for is evidence of good form, which means generally a straight stem. Now here we have what we would call a somewhat sinuous stem, meaning that it's somewhat curvy. Over time that may correct itself. This tree is still small enough that eventually it may grow into a straight stem. All of the value, or predominantly all the value, is found in the first 16 feet of this log, and actually 17 feet of this log, because you need to give that logger some space to actually cut this tree down. So once this tree grows large enough to become merchantable, you want to account for the fact that the first foot is likely to be left behind as a stump, and the next 16 feet are what are going to be sold as the log. If you have a large tree that actually has a defect-free half log, or the first 8 or 9 feet of that stem, 9 feet accounting for that foot-high stump, you can still fetch a lot of value out of that stem as well. But we're looking for good form. Generally that means straight, few branch scars. Each of these branch scars is going to lead to a defect, which will be, your individual stem will be penalized for the number of defects that are found on that stem prior to cutting it down. So if we're going to be allocating resources into promoting particular crop trees for accomplishing timber-centric goals, we're looking for species of high value, and we're looking for individual stems of those species that are relatively defect-free.